Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem El Shai, Ba'ashem El Rakak Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. And shalom to the whole full elect. Despite Allah, is news and prophecy, prophecy and news. I got an article here from Zero Hedge, and the title reads, Where will the food rights stop? Alright, now in these times that we're in the last days. Alright, as foretold in the Holy Bible. Alright, oracles of the Most High. Alright, it speaks of all things that are happening currently around the world. Alright, food shortages, as they call them in this modern day, which is basically famine, wars and rumors of wars, which we're presently experiencing upon this earth, and different different so-called natural disasters. Alright, which they call it natural disasters to take away from the power of the Heavenly Father, because they're acts of the Most High. All right. So anyway, let's get into it. So it says, global food prices have never risen so fast and have never been so high. And as have detailed multiple times in recent months, as this is not simply a 1 month blame it on Putin crisis. Most recently here, the pieces are in place for some serious tears to form in the social fabric of many nations. All right, and this is the thing, we're heading into a time like never before. All right, as it tells you in the book of Jeremiah 30:7, which I'll quickly read. All right, because that feeds into one of many components of the time we're in. All right. So it says, Jeremiah 30:7, last for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. All right. Jacob's trouble coincides with the hour of temptation, which also coincides with the day of the Lord. Well, let me double back. Let me step back, should I say, to the point of the hour of temptation, because the hour of temptation is coming to tempt all the people that dwell upon the earth. So just like there's a time appointed for Jacob's trouble, but we're going to be saved out of it. The hour of temptation is really going to devour all the people, all right? And anyone that's left over in terms of after World War III, because the key prophecies that have to play out is the market, the charugma, all right, being a mark, followed by World War III, which is going to coincide with Yahweh Shai's return, the return of the Lord, day of the Lord. And in that happening, all right, when America's destroyed and turned into the lake of fire spoke of in the book of Revelations, all right, what you have is you have the people left upon the earth, and then it will be our job, all right, Lord willing, be if the elect, to basically round up the people and bring order upon the earth. So they're going to be dealing with that temptation until, the elect round up the people, all right? While food prices may be generally seen as an emerging market problem, they will have an effect on developed markets too, something we will see in the upcoming French election. And as the following table from Bloomberg Economics shows, while Pakistan is already in the midst of a political crisis and Egypt is already coming under financial pressure, along with Peru and Sri Lanka, the surge in food prices is also adding to problems in the developed world, all right? So the developed world, which we live in, all right, America, United Kingdom, Europe, mainland Europe, all right, these key places in the world, which is of Esau's rulership. In fact, as peak prosperity, Chris Mattison details below, the inflation riots have begun. Peru, Sri Lanka, both are experiencing violence and inflation spirals. The prices of basic necessities higher and higher. We've been here before, and recently the Arab Spring was a period of social unrest and riots in 2010 and 2011 that was triggered in part by spiking food prices, and that was due to the food coming from Ukraine, I believe. But the Arab Spring, I remember hearing of people, directly involved in that. They were very scared and terrified, petrified of what the country could ascend to, because you had some of them, move out here to the UK and what different things of that nature. As Alfred Henry Lewis said in 1906, there are only 9 meals between mankind and anarchy. Anarchy. That's a cold quote. All right. Alfred Henry Lewis. All right. There are only 9 meals between mankind and anarchy. I'm saying it again because Lord willing, I want to remember that. But that's some real shit, man. All right. But before pure, because what you gotta remember as well is the these man-made cities that we live in are basically man-made, all right, and they're allowed to thrive by vehicles such as importing of food, exportation of goods, different things of that nature. Now, when you have energy prices going up, all right, along with different sanctions being put in place, and dealing with the UK, you got Brexit, all right, where they've all the different agreements that made import and export very fluid, run like clockwork, have now caused stagnation in that operation basically. So these are things that are going to play into that famine, right? Because remember, it's free. All food is imported. Most of these resources are imported, right, from overseas. So if there was to be a halt in the incoming of goods, you'd have a lot of people would descend into famine, basically. All right. But before pure anarchy comes, society experiences increasing unrest and the erosion of social bonds and niceties. That's where we are now. Food prices today are higher than they were in 2010, and the protests at, are not at all surprising. We can and should expect more of them. Worse than that, however, is the prospect of actual famine and food shortages. I expect true famine to emerge by the end of this year after the northern harvest fails to cover the basic needs of 8 billion plus people. All right. This is yet another reason why you should plant a garden, as if you needed one more, right? The reason of the glum outlook is not just the loss of Ukraine exports and probable less loss of the planting season for quite a large portion of the Ukraine, but because of desperate global shortages of fertilizers, which have become utterly essential to today's crop yields, showing you how the earth ain't got no power in it, man. Right? Because they're not, as it tells you in the book of Isaiah, they've gone against the ordinance of the Most High. All right. And basically in doing so, that's what's made it as to where the food, the soil is weak and you need fertilizers. In this lesson, we learn the converting biologically active and supportive soil into barren dirt was a terrible idea. By 2030, it's projected that phosphate will reach peak output and then begin its slow decline. What's the world plan? All right. So blah, 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 blah. But the main point is there's famine coming. All right. I'll start from verse 4. Matthew 24:4. Point being in verse 7. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And this is what we experience right now. And famines is something that's coming as well. But verse 8 says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. All right. So this is the entrance into the times, out of temptation, the time of Jacob's trouble. All right. Let me just read this straight to the point. It's the book of Job. Whoops. 5. So, I'll start from verse 19, points in 22. All right. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. In famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of the destruction when it cometh. At destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. All right. So with that, I pray you're edified to the next one. Say shalom. Shalom.